Dear students, welcome to our class on establishment of a standard meteorological observatory. Before we go into the class, two requests from my side. First, you try to know the YouTube channel of me. It is Agrometeorology, Farmers and Rural Development. Then second important thing is in certain areas where the students study in the rural background, okay, there the internet problem is there. That's why I sincerely request you to download the establishment of a standard meteorological observatory, because this is one of the most important questions that you are asked in the final exam of the practical. So if every practical you please try to download so that you get instant access. So there may not be any problem with the internet. Now, before we go straight into the class, I just try to give you a small quote to inspire you. If two friends exchange a rupee, both of them will have 1 rupee each. If both the friends exchange one good thought one good thought each, both of them will have two good thoughts. So this is the quote for our class today. Now, let us go straight into the class. Establishment of a standard meteorological observatory is done as per the India Meteorological Department's guidelines in India. Similarly, in any country, as per the guidelines of World Meteorological Organization, Geneva, Switzerland, every country like India will have some standard procedure. So, what are those procedures for the establishment of the standard meteorological observatory that we are going to learn in this class now? So, the classification of the observatories is made based on why classification? Because the needs of the meteorological and hydrological requirements of each country vary a lot. That's why in different locations, different observatories are recommended by the respective countries' hydro meteorological services. Now, so based on the uh, observations, okay, the structure of the of each observatory. So how the classification is done? Three basic, okay, classification ideas are there, guidelines are there, otherwise norms are there. Okay, what is the first one? Physical facilities available. What are the physical facilities that are available? How many instruments are there? Okay, now what is the mode of transmission of data? So is it transmitted on dot? Is it transmitted once in a day or twice in a day, like that? The type of persons employed in the observatory. So in a class 1 observatory, for instance, high skilled, well qualified PhDs, postdoctoral, like that, so they are employed. However, in a class 6 observatory, part time or on request, the observer will go. So that's what we are going to learn in the next slide. Now, there are six categories or classes of observatories. Class 1, class 2, class 3, class 4, class 5 and class 6. Now, in class 1 category or category 1 or class 1 observatory, it is called as the spectral station. Highly qualified full-time employees work at once on dot. That means every second, every hour, every day, every week, everything on dot information is recorded and transmitted. Most of the instruments used in the category 1 or class 1 observatories are automatic and they are highly sophisticated, like sometimes very big radars are also present in the category 1 or class 1 observatory. Exactly reverse in case of class 6 observatory. It is a non-instrument station, semi-skilled workers there on request. Okay, the observers will go and record it. So in between we have category 2, 3, 4 and 5. Category 2 and 3 are similar as far as their name is concerned. Synoptic station, both of them are called. Part-time skilled workers work in both the category 2 and 3. However, in category 2, the transmission of data, okay, is twice in a day, but category 3, it is once in a day. However, as far as instruments are concerned, ordinary instruments are there. What are the ordinary instruments? A Siemens rain gauge, a self-recording rain gauge, a Stevenson screen, a sunshine recorder, like that. In class 4 or category 4, they are known as the climatic stations. Trained workers are there. Once in a week, the information is transmitted. Partially equipped observatories, we call them. So as far as the category 5 is concerned, they are also called as the rainfall station. Okay, trained part-time workers will record the information on rainfall. Once in a month, they transmit the information to the concerned zones, okay, headquarters. Only rain gauge is there. I've already discussed with you what is category 6 now. So to sum it up simply, there are category 1 or class 1 to category 6 or category class 6 observatories are there in the as far as the India Meteorological Department or most of the countries are concerned. This is how the observatories are classified. Now, as far as the layout of instruments in a Agromet observatory is concerned, you are seeing the slide. You may be asked to draw after the practical exam is during the practical exam. After the class is also over, as a homework, you will be asked to write. Just draw a neat label diagram of layout of instruments in a Agromet observatory. Layout of a Agromet observatory. Okay. Similarly, layout of an automatic weather station. So you just try to see how the instruments are there in the observatory, surface observatory, and an automatic weather station. So the hours of observations are concerned. Since meteorological elements vary with the time, it is necessary that they should be recorded at a particular time on every occasion. It is to be recorded as per the guidelines of hydrometeorological services, hydrometeorological department of the respective country. Okay. Now, as far as India, for example, is concerned, the main observations are recorded as per the guidelines of India Meteorological Department at 8:30 and 17:30 Indian Standard Time. At Agromet observatories, the observations are recorded at 7 in the morning, okay, 7 a.m. 1400 hours of local mean time. LMT means local mean time, except evaporation rainfall, which are recorded, of course, at 8:30 hours as far as IST is concerned. Now, so radiation observations, including sunshine, are recorded as per local apparent time. In the calculation of time exercise, what is local apparent time? I am going to give you elaborate up to that point. Please note that radiation observations, including the sunshine, are recorded as per the LAT, local apparent time. Of course, at the meteorological observatories, the hours are numbered consecutively from midnight 00 hours to midnight 24 hours. So that means, for example, okay, the hours in the afternoon, 1300 hours is start, okay, 1400 hours. For what? 1 1 p.m., 2 p.m., like that. Time as 2:30 p.m., 2:30 a.m. are expressed as 14:30, 0 to 30 hours Indian Standard Time is correct. This is for India. For different countries, the observations are prescribed by World Meteorological Organization and their respective hydrometeorological services. Now, so the instrument should be read in the following order. So when you enter in the observatory, so you should not record the readings of each instrument, as somebody wishes. It is as per the standards. First, wind instruments has to be read, then rain gauges, then thermometers, then barometers. Now, this question will come. What is the criteria for selection of site for a standard meteorological observatory, and draw a neat label diagram. Now, so how we select the site for the meteorological observatory? The meteorological departments are National Hydrometeorological Department or principal government agency pertaining to meteorology in the nations. They recommend the following procedure in the selection of site, selection of the land or site for meteorological observatory. What are those? The site should be well exposed to the atmosphere. It should not have any undulations. Then it should be a bare land. It should be a level plot, taking care of even proposed buildings, not only existing buildings, even proposed buildings. Of course, proposed roads, canals, etc., which affect the exposure of the instruments. So the site should be well exposed to atmosphere, because atmosphere is a colorless, odorless, and tasteless physical mixture of gases enveloping the earth on all sides. Okay. Now, as far as meteorological observations are concerned, what is agricultural meteorology? Study of those aspects of meteorology that have direct relevance to agriculture. So that's why we should expose the instruments to atmosphere very well. As you know, the definition of atmosphere is a colorless, odorless, and tasteless physical mixture of gases enveloping the raw side. So for that, instrument should be exposed, well exposed. Otherwise, there is no correctness of the readings that we record. So it should be the first criteria. First criteria is once again, site should be well exposed. The second one is that when the observatory is to be located in an agricultural farm, okay, the site should be as far as possible so chosen that it is the representative of principal agricultural soils of that area. So in a district or in a town, in a group of villages, what is the principal agriculture soil, whether it is a sandy soil, whether it is a clay soil, whether it is a loamy soil. So principal agriculture soil only we should select as far as the agricultural meteorological observatory or meteorological observatory is concerned in an agricultural farm of either university or central government or anything. Now, in wooded areas, the site should be on a open plateau or terrace. Wooded areas means small forest areas or even say big forest areas. So in such cases, the site should be on the open terrace. Okay. Now in areas of drifting wind, continuous drifting wind will be there in certain areas. The site should be at a place with a minimum drift. Where the minimum drift is possible, there we go for it. Otherwise, the instruments read wrong observations. If the observatory is to be located near a reservoir, it should be on the upstream side. So that is what is recommended. The site should be free from waterlogging. What is waterlogging? When rain occurs, okay, water will be above the ground level. That means, there is a possibility for stagnation of water. That's what we call it as water logging. Okay, now, so the site should be free from water logging and high structures, tall trees, hills, especially on the east side and on the western side, because both in the morning as well as in the evening, there is a possibility for shadows to be cast on the instruments. Now, the highest groundwater level at the site must not be less than 2 meters from the surface. That means the water table should be at least from the surface 2 meters. Water table 2 meters. Otherwise, the instruments get corrosion effect because of the so much of moisture. Another important thing is the instruments also won't read properly. So the size of the observatory has to be decided depending upon the number of instruments to be installed. As I told, class 1 to class 6 or category 1 to category 6 observatories are there. So the size of the observatory has to be decided depending upon the number of instruments to be located in that particular observatory. Of course, other two points are there. How that information is collected and transmitted. How, what are the levels of the persons employed there? But anyway, the size of the observatory has to be decided depending upon the number of the instruments. Now, 54 meters north south by 36 meters east west for Agromet observatory, 25 meters north south by 15 meters east west for the other purposes. Of course, this is what as far as the selection of site is concerned. Then what are the instruments or appliances that are kept for the specific positions in the observatory? First, rain gauge. Okay, the rain gauge records total amount of rainfall during the last 24 hours in millimeters. Evaporimeter helps in determining the rate of evaporation measured in millimeters per day. Dew gauge records the total amount of dew deposited in a day in millimeters per day. Stevenson screen, single Stevenson screen is there, double Stevenson screen is there. In the double Stevenson screen, you have automatic recording instrument like thermograph, hygrograph, sometimes barograph also. As far as single Stevenson screen is concerned, minimum there should be 4 thermometers: dry bulb thermometer, wet bulb thermometer, okay, maximum thermometer, and minimum. Minimum. These are the things that are required for the distribution screen. Now, the sunshine recorder records the hours of sunshine. Grass minimum thermometer, of course, it is kept okay to record the grass minimum temperature when the ground is covered by vegetation. Soil thermometers, surface 5 centimeters, 10 centimeters, like that. 3 to 4 soil thermometers have to be kept for to measure the soil temperature. Psychrometer. What is a psychrometer? When a dry bulb and wet bulb thermometers are mounted on a wooden platform, we call it as a psychrometer, Psychro, psychrometer. So, okay, it is useful for the measurement of humidity. Okay, for the particularly for micrometeorological observation, wind vane, the direction of the wind, anemometer, it measures the wind speed. This is how, okay, the site selection and the instruments and their use are concerned. You should let. Before I conclude the class, once again, I would like to tell you that my YouTube channel is Agrometeorology, Farmers and Rural Development. Then, if any internet problem is there, first you download it. Then you go for studying. Any questions are there, you are welcome to ask me. Then, before I formally say thank to you, once again, the quote of our class is that if two friends are there, if they exchange 1 rupee, each one of them will have 1 rupee. But these two friends, if they exchange two, each one exchange a good word, both of them will have two good words, two good thoughts. Okay, that is the quote of the day. Thank you very much. May God bless you.